Hello YouTube, it's Ryan here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we are doing another manga review. Today we are reviewing the Alabasta Saga of One Piece, which is awesome. I don't know if saga is the right term, I'm pretty sure it is, but it's like the overarching Alabasta section, not just the Alabasta arc itself. And of course, the author of One Piece is Eiichiro Oda. The publisher is Viz Media. Through the Shonen Jump app is how I read it. So I read it digitally. I don't have space for 100 volumes of a single manga. At least at the place I'm living right now, which is my parents' house, or at the apartment where I live at university. I don't have space in either place, so I'm just not gonna buy 100 volumes of manga. I also don't have the money for it, so the Shonen Jump app is saving my life right now, man. So, yeah, the demographic is shonen, and the genres here are adventure, pirate fantasy, and general fantasy in general, right? That was kind of redundant, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Adaptations-wise, it does have an adaptation. You're going to watch the first 100 and so episodes, I think, on Netflix. And personally, I don't really feel that the adaptation adds anything, at least from what I've seen of it. The only well-known thing that I can think of that is like, yeah, this is better than like the manga is the walk to Arlong Park, which I mentioned in the last review, which you guys can see right there if you want. But I don't necessarily know that there's anything else that's particularly good besides like the general good things of adaptations, which is like you can see the battles better instead of like reading one piece at a time. But you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't like watching anime that much anyways, so I prefer the manga most of the time. So it really doesn't matter to me, but yeah, there is an adaptation obviously for it. I think it's just about as long as One Piece, like obviously, but it has about the same amount of episodes, although it's still pretty far behind. So yeah, the premise here of this section of this story is essentially like the get to know each other phase of a gathering the crew thing, right? Like they already did that in Arlong Park and stuff, like across the East Blue, they kind of learned about each other, but this is more like the, we have to get used to working together now, kind of part. It's like the first major adventures on the Grand Line, and it's kind of like the start of the journey into proper One Piece storylines. East Blue is essentially a prologue, which is kind of crazy, or like a prequel, I guess, would be kind of a more accurate description of it. But yeah, I mean, we basically go through like a section of 5 islands across the Grand Line. I think it might be more, but yeah, there's like 5 major bits that they go through, and they have their first major adventure on the Grand Line. And that's basically the whole premise of this story. So, yeah. The plotline here is great. It takes momentum from Arlong Park, and it pushes it further and further, and develops the world a lot. Like, there's a lot of expansion. Like, suddenly, we're, like, going crazy. We're getting thrown things at us left and right. We see and hear all types of crazy names of people, locations, and regions. And we see, like, crazy animals. We see all types of stuff in this story, all through the exploration that the characters are going through. And I think that's the best part of One Piece to me, is that it feels so character driven. It's because these characters want to do these things. It's because what's it called, they're working towards a goal, as opposed to being like the traditional Western style novel where it's like there's this overwhelming looming prophecy, and this sad farmer boy is gonna have to do what he wants, or do what he has to, regardless of whether he wants to or not. And that's quite one of the things I really like about manga, that is so character driven. It's all because the character has a dream and he wants to push towards it, right? And we get to see Luffy and the crew go through doing this, and then we get joined by other people and kind of change the thing. But yeah, the best arc of Alabasta was Alabasta itself, when they fight Crocodile and the Baroque works and all that stuff. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super good. But the stuff beforehand wasn't the best. Like, I think Whiskey Peak was kind of boring, like, and Reverse Mountain, like the first two arcs that are like 5 chapters each. I didn't find them that enjoyable. But everything else was great. I really enjoyed Little Garden. I thought that was awesome. Just like two giants duking it out on an island. And like Luffy and the crew just being like, oh, what the heck's going on here? I thought it was cool, and I really enjoyed this whole kind of like cat and mouse game that they had going on with Baroque Works. And I really enjoyed like the kind of monumental struggle that Alabasta was going through. I thought it was really good. Overall, very, very enjoyable plot line here. And yeah, I just thought everything works really nicely. The adjustment period for the team was really good. We kind of see that they've gotten over that, and they've gotten a new crew member that kind of like seamlessly fit in, which I really like. And yeah, and we got to see Luffy being a force of nature, and just going crazy and like changing people's lives for no reason, just because he wants to, just because he finds something wrong, and he wants to fix it. And I think it's so cool. Luffy's so interesting. So let's just jump into the characters, since I am already talking about Luffy. I think it's very nice. I like a lot of them. I like that there's a lot of single use characters, like one-off. We see them once and we might never see them again, but they mean something. They provide some amount of world building, or they develop an idea for one of the crew members, or they provide some sort of interesting, I don't know, something that makes them interesting. Right? I like a lot of them, because it's just so like cool. Oda does a really good job with his characters. It reminds me of Wheel of Time, where like every character makes an impression regardless of how like basic they are. And of course, you're not going to remember a lot of them, but like they still mean something in the moment that they appear. I like that a lot. It's very kind of like interesting. But if we're talking about the good characters, right? Baroque Works is cool. It's an interesting organization. I really like how it's so structured, so hierarchical, because it provides a very like well-defined group of opponents for Luffy and the crew, which is so chaotic and random, right? And so we kind of see structure versus freedom, or chaos versus structure, whatever you want to call it. We see this dichotomy of like structure, organization choices, I guess, or like lifestyle choices that collide directly with each other, and they also kind of fit into the larger thematic issue between Luffy, Vivi, and all of the crew against Crocodile and Baroque Works, right? I thought it was really good. The Baroque Works characters themselves weren't my favorite. Like, I like Crocodile. I liked Vivi and her guy that went with her. I liked the what was her name? Miss Wednesday? Whatever, or Miss Sunday? I don't know. Whatever Nico Robin's name was, I like her. And one or two of the other ones were kind of interesting, but generally they were just like really wacky bad guys that served an interesting purpose, but weren't maybe my favorite. Like, I really liked them, but compared to like the crew itself and Crocodile himself and like Vivi and stuff, they were just like not as good, mostly because the villainous aspect of them was really wacky. So I think it was fun, but it wasn't like my favorite, because I prefer like really evil villains, I guess. And Crocodile really does fit, because he's not really evil, but like he is directly bad to a certain people, because he wants like control, right? So I thought it was really good. And yeah, my favorite character in this arc was definitely Vivi. She's super cute. She's really meaningful. I really enjoy how she's responsible compared to everyone on the crew, and how she has that moment where she like wants to be part of the crew, but she can't because she has responsibilities. And she's just enjoyable. She brings a lot of meaning, kind of like duty versus personal preference, kind of responsibility to your people and your friends, and responsibility to yourself. And she also has an interesting kind of relationship with Luffy. I really liked when Luffy punched her. I know that sounds horrible, but like, I really appreciate that Luffy treats everyone equally, like in like the truest equal sense, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, a old man, a young person. If you say something that is, or like if you are in a situation where like you're doing something stupid, Luffy's gonna tell you because he's the king of stupid, but not when it comes to people he cares about and not when it comes to defending what he wants to defend, right? So I thought it was really good. There's also like one little bit of characterization I didn't understand, and that was when Luffy fought Zoro after they were fed by the bad guys. Like, it just makes no sense that Luffy would just like do that randomly. Like, I've never seen Luffy do something like that. And I guess it was more of a comedic element. Like, it was just a ridiculous, like, oh, let's make it funny by making Luffy like really nonsensical. But like, it doesn't really work, because why would Luffy trust random people that fed him over Zoro, right? Like, the whole thing with Zoro and Luffy is that since day one, they've been like tight as heck, right? So it makes kind of no sense there. The other thing I really liked was Ace. He looks really cool. He's very interesting. I know that a lot of stuff happens with him later on. I don't ever try to shy away from spoilers. So I know a lot of like general ideas about Ace. But I'm really excited to see his story. I know that the Boichi is making a manga adaptation of the Ace light novels, and I really hope we get that in English, because that would be so cool. Boichi is such a good artist, and I would really like to see his art for the Ace light novels, and also do want to get the Ace light novels at some point, because I think they're interesting. I know we only met Ace for like a chapter, but he was just so cool. And it's interesting. Okay, and world building wise, it's very good. I think the Grand Line is crazy. It's ridiculous. It's wild. It makes no sense, but it still has rules, and I thought that was really awesome. I really like the idea of a log pose and then the eternal pose, I think is what it's called. That whole thing where they had magnetic currents that run in bands across the Grand Line, and you have to like have a specific compass that only works for one of those, was really interesting. I thought that was super cool. I thought that was a really nice bit of world building. It makes maybe not a lot of sense, but it works very, very nicely. Very nicely. I thought the weather patterns were interesting. It's kind of crazy, but it's really cool. Like, just badass. I don't know. I just thought it was awesome. I liked all the crazy creatures, and I'm really interested to see if there's more races beyond human, fishman, and giant. I assume there are, but it's pretty cool that, you know, there's so many different types of creatures, and it's an interesting kind of like, how did they evolve if there's not that much land? Although I guess that maybe is partially why they evolved, because there's so many separate groups that like things just happened in each place independently, which is pretty interesting. It's like the same reason why Australia has so many wacky animals compared to the rest of the world, because they're like kind of separate over there in the middle of nowhere. So I thought that was awesome. I think it's very interesting. It's kind of like based on real life, but taken to a crazy extreme, and I thought that was really good. Art-wise, it gets better and better. I think it's very interesting because now Luffy's starting to get muscle definition, as opposed to just being a really lanky, like, very stick figure-y kind of guy. And I like that. I like it because it only happens when he's attacking. So, like, when he's actually using his musculature and he's trying to make a powerful attack, he gets muscular. And you see, like, the change between, like, lanky Luffy and, like, muscly Luffy. And I thought it was cool. I think Oda's getting better at drawing female characters as well. I think he was never bad at them, but like the female characters in this arc were more interesting looking than the ones before. Although that might be because there's more of them, and so he has to balance it up by making them more different looking. I'm not really sure, but I mean, he still has the same kind of like two body shapes for women. Like, there's like the old fat lady woman, and then there's like the statuesque, like supermodel kind of woman character for Oda. I'm not complaining. I don't really care. But I mean, it's a thing, right? I noticed it, and I thought it was interesting to comment on it. Fan service wise, I guess there was some fan service, but not really much. I mean, there was a a bad scene where we didn't really see anything, and then there's like some of the female characters are drawn or have very kind of suggestive types of outfits. So I guess if you don't like that, I don't read it. But like, I think it's so minimal, and there's so many more better things that One Piece offers that like not reading it because of some boobies is really not that good of a choice on your part. But I mean, everyone kind of has to do what they want, right? So there you go. Rating wise, this is a 4 out of 5. It's consistently good and enjoyable, but because the first little bit of it felt kind of boring to me, I'm not really sure that I can give it a 5 out of 5. Plus, I'm not necessarily that invested in the characters so far, which is kind of odd. I mean, I'm 200 chapters in. I should like really care about them, but there hasn't been a moment with the main cast, with the crew, where I was like, oh man, that hurts, right? That like tugs at my heartstrings, which is crazy because with Vivi, I definitely felt one. Like, there was one part where I was like, damn, that like made me start to feel like I was gonna cry. You know, like the like burning sensation you get in your nose before your eyes start to water. I almost felt that with one of Vivi's scenes. So I don't know. It's kind of odd to me that I felt that with Vivi and not with any of the crew just yet. But, or I guess I did with Nami in like Arlong Park, but like it's not, I don't know, it's not the same. But I think it is getting close to that 5 out of 5 badass, like epic, amazing thing. It just hasn't gotten there for me just yet. But yeah, that's it for me. I don't have anything else to say about One Piece. If you guys want to watch my review on the East Blue Saga, it's up there. I mean, I already mentioned it, but it's up there anyways. Or if you want to watch some of my reviews on the specific 3-in-1 volumes of One Piece that I had, they're on my page somewhere. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Up to this point for you guys, how is this story? Like, is it a 4 out of 5? Is it a 5 out of 5? Is it a 3? Like, what would you rate it at this point in time? Like, up to Alabasta, or up to the end of Alabasta, not anything afterwards. Because I'm curious to see what other people think of, like, this section of One Piece. I know there's, like, some really good, like, very big booktubers, like Murphy and, Murphy Napier and Daniel Green, that are starting to get into manga and are doing reviews on One Piece. And I actually really enjoy watching theirs. So if you guys have watched their videos, or if you haven't, go check them out. They're really cool. They're super huge YouTubers, and I really like listening to what they have to say about books. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.